Good afternoon, and welcome to our first Mind Your Business Luncheon of 2026. I'd like to acknowledge that we are standing here on Treaty 8 territory land, and we're very happy to be able to work and play in this beautiful area of the province. Today, we have a couple of board members in Chetwynd Chamber of Commerce board members. We have Tanya Richter, she's one of my board members, and we have Elizabeth Ross from Canoe McCool, who's just on her way, and she will be here shortly. So I don't think. And then we also have a special guest today, all the way from Fort St. John. Do you want to introduce your dad?
This is my dad. This is Brian Roach.
Hello!
I follow him everywhere with me on my latitude trips. He likes it, don't you?
Wonderful. We're so happy to have you here. Welcome. I was very excited when you said you were bringing your dad. I was like, oh my goodness, that's so great.
He says, I can stay home.
No, you get to come with. For anybody, bathrooms are out the door and to the right. And if there's an emergency, there's a door right here. You guys can all pile over each other to save your souls. So today we have Jennifer Moore from the Northern BC Tourism Association. She's taken some time out of her very busy schedule of the numerous things that she does to come and speak with us today. But first, we'll grab some lunch. So lunch today is by Crazy Beans Bistro by Pam. So grab something to eat, have something to eat, and then when Jennifer's ready, we'll get started. Perfect. All right. Again, welcome to Jennifer Moore from Northern BC Tourism Association. She's going to share a wealth of knowledge of things that are definitely going to help our local businesses when it comes to tourism in our area. This is our economy.
I had a little giggle when I always like the Northeast, because I wear a few hats. Well, I work with Northern BC Tourism in their industry development pillar. I also work with the Northeast BC Community Foundation.
That's what I was going to say. That's
Naomi sits on the board as the chairman for that. I also sit on the board of Northern Lights College. Small communities, we wear many hats, which actually serves many of the roles those connections between organizations works well. But today I am here with Northern BC Tourism. My role with them is to support the tourism sector, organizations, businesses, communities in whatever their challenges and aspirations are. I argue that I have the best job at Northern BC Tourism. I'm sure I have some colleagues that would probably argue with me. So we have a pretty vast region. We run from just south of Prince George up to the Yukon border, Tijan Cache, all the way up to Haida Gwaii. Small little chunk of territory about the size of France. And pretty vast. It's vast territory with many different ecosystems and cultures. Our region works with over 50 different Indigenous groups and all of the communities along those highways. Can you guys see that? Yeah. Okay. Happy to send this out afterwards if anybody's interested. So Northern BC Tourism has been in existence since like 1972 in some format. Originally, we were a destination marketing organization. It was our job to market the region to visitors, explain, highlight the great things to do in our region. We've evolved. We are now a destination management organization. We are one of 5 in the province. And like you saw on the previous map, it's the top 60% of the province. So we do this sort of variety of things. Really, we want to develop the region, but also we do some content development for marketing to inspire those visitors to come and visit our really special place in the world. I'm a transplant to the Peace Country. I grew up in the Caribou. I'm just clocking over 15 years in the Peace Country, so I guess I got 10 more years before I can apply for my local card. And, my story is pretty similar to many others, right? I came north on an 18-month plan, and that was 15 years ago. We hear about people that say, oh, I had 5-year plan, a 3-year plan. The car broke down here, that was 23 years ago. There's something about this place that gets in your blood. And when people say to me, why do you live? Why would you live there? You can live anywhere. Why wouldn't I live here? So Fort St. John is home for me. And I work across, with the many hats that I wear, including my tourism work. I spend a lot of time, spend a lot of time out and about, not in my home office. So our work at Northern BC Tourism crosses 4 pillars. I'm going to talk about 3 of them today. Market awareness, which is really that content development, capturing those great images and video that help us showcase what a special place Northern British Columbia is. Destination stewardship, how do we support communities, operators, organizations in developing the assets that visitors use when they come through our communities, to our communities. I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story. A few years ago, I went to Mackenzie and delivered a similar presentation. On my way there, the windshield wiper flew off into the ditch. Thankfully, I was not very far away from Mackenzie. And so many organizations think they have to be a hotel or a visitor experience, or they have to service exclusively tourists. But that day, Napa Auto Parts serviced the visitor economy because I went there to get a new wiper blade for my truck. Gas stations service visitors, rest areas. There's not many businesses in a community that don't support the visitor economy in some function. I'm a visitor here today. I've come from more than 60 kilometers away. While I am not spending the night, I will spend a little extra time and a little extra money in the community, and that's the power of the visitor economy, is that it's money that otherwise wouldn't be in your community with my type of visitation today, a reasonably light footprint. Some footprints are a little bit heavier. Destination stewardship is about developing all those assets, about managing those assets, and one of our core values at Northern BC Tourism is sustainability. And when we talk about sustainability, we talk about it from 3 different perspectives. There's the planet piece, where are we caring for this place that is so special to us and that visitors come to visit? Are we taking care of the people? Are we taking care of the employees and the people who make our visitor assets run and our communities run? And the last one is profit. Well, it would be lovely to be just doing this for the goodness. We want to make sure that businesses are sustainable and can continue to operate because they are turning a profit that they can then reinvest into their people and environmental options and those other pieces. And then the last piece is my realm is industry development. So I work directly with business organizations and communities on a variety of things. Near the end of the presentation, I left my part till the end. I'll go through the other pillars. And then the last piece is just organizational excellence. So as an organization, we run a decentralized model. Like I said, large territory. So we have staff members in Prince George, Fort St. John, Dawson Creek, Smithers, Kitimat, Houston. Yeah. And that helps ease some of the travel pressures in such a vast region. So just to set the stage, and these stats are a little bit old, so these are based off of 2019 stats. The visitor economy in Northern British Columbia represents a $1.1 billion visitor spend across the region. Now, if you compound that with direct, indirect, and induced spending, we're up to almost $2 billion. So it's often an unsung hero from a sector perspective. You know, we're not the oil and gas sector, we're not the mining sector, but we've got a much smaller footprint than those sectors. And I would argue that we have a symbiotic relationship with many of those industries as well. You know, we have a large fly-in, fly-out population with mining and oil and gas. Those are visitors to our community who are staying in hotels, eating in restaurants, dollars that otherwise would not be in our communities. So just because a visitor shows up they don't necessarily show up the way we think they're going to show up with flip-flops and a camera hanging around their neck. They may have hard hats and steel-toed work boots. If anyone has any questions, I'm going through this, stop me. These are, we do a little bit of research, and our research program is just in the midst of being redeveloped. These are Canadian numbers. So to the end of November last year, the December stats come out next week. We had 1.5 million visitors in northern British Columbia, unique visitors. Some of those visitors came multiple times. Fly-in, fly-out worker who's on rotation would only be counted once. That's a pretty big number. Our market awareness piece, Dustin, who works out of our Prince George office, he's got a pretty cool job too. He gets to work with operators on getting themselves into a place where they are market and export ready, so they can work with tour providers. I'm planning a trip to the UK later this year. I say planning in a loose sense of the term. My travel agent is planning it for me because she knows better than I do, but there's established relationships with the providers that we're gonna experience while we're there. The hotel providers, the tour providers, those organizations have done the work to be able to work with the organization that packages those tours. So Dustin does a lot of work on connecting those tour operators with the packagers of the tours. He also gets to talk to a lot of media who tell the story of northern British Columbia, which is a pretty great story. This place is not for everyone, and honestly, as a resident here, I'm happy about that. I don't want too many people to come. But he gets to do all sorts of cool things like snowshoeing and hiking, and when he takes media out on trips across the region. He's a busy guy. He also has three small children at home, so he quite likes that his job gets him away from home, his poor wife. Market awareness. So we have Brian and Anne-Marie who work on content development. They work with photographers and videographers on developing the photo bank, the videos that we can use and Destination British Columbia can use to promote tourism, both domestically here in Canada, but also abroad. You know, one of our key markets, and it's in a different slide deck. We have an iconic, we call Northern British Columbia, the iconic here is the Great Wilderness. And to launch the Great Wilderness, they actually created an immersive car wash in Germany. Now in Germany, it is illegal to wash your car at home. They take their cars very seriously in Germany. So they turned this car wash that you get on the track and it drives you through the car wash. Anyways, the inside of the car wash was turned into a trip to northern British Columbia with the rains of the West Coast, the Northern Lights, and the size of the cedars on the West Coast to the size of our wildlife, the bisons of the Northern Rockies. Anyways, it was a pretty cool experience. I don't even want to know what it cost. Anyhow, Brian and his team organize these kinds of the capture of these kinds of images that we use and that operators have access to be able to promote their efforts. We also run campaigns. This is a Northeast campaign, the Big Five they talk about here in the Northeast. So Western Canada's only UNESCO Geopark, Canada's largest natural hot springs with Liard Hot Springs, the Serengeti of the North, the inland temperate rainforest, which is the ancient forest just west of Prince George, and Mile Zero of the Alaska Highway. So they've developed campaigns that are, and put a fair amount of money into promoting this as a great place to visit if these are the things that, the history of the Alaska Highway, the dinosaurs in Tumbler Ridge, well, truthfully across our whole region. Anyways, they've got some pretty unique stuff. The next pillar is destination stewardship. So under this, we do a number of pieces. Destination development, which is often, as an organization, we don't have the ability to do a lot of the work. We don't have the funds to do the work, but we enable and support communities and organizations to do the work. Destination development and management. We put quite a bit of effort into Indigenous and community relations. One of the fastest growing sectors in the tourism sector is Indigenous cultural tourism experiences. And we have some beautiful developing, I'm still going to call them developing opportunities here in the Northeast. We also work on sustainability, so it can be the big sky stuff, but it can also be the supporting operators in how do they reduce their footprint. I work with an operator in just outside of Kispiox who got rid of bottled water. They have a beautiful resort, small resort. When a guest comes and stays, they get a branded water bottle. So the water bottles cost them money. They paid for the water bottles within a year. So they have water stations amongst their property. When you arrive, this is your water bottle. You can take it home with you if you'd like. It's branded with their name. But what the bottled water was costing them versus this different approach, they were lessening their footprint from an environmental perspective with all the recycled, with all the bottles. But they've also, the program paid for itself in the first year. So small incremental changes. Our access and inclusion specialist who works with operators on ensuring that communities and operators they're looking at things from an accessibility lens. So Lori is in Fort St. John. She has worked with us for a long time. She's on leave right now, but she puts a whole new lens on things. And at some point in our lives, we are going to have some sort of access issue. I have an aging mother. I am much more aware of where I park in parking lots and where there's a dip and if there's ice and all of those pieces. But access is not just about mobility. It's probably the most prominent one. We also have neurodiverse learning. We have hearing issues. If you are operating some sort of boat tour, probably don't put the guy with hearing aids right next to the motor at the back. He's not likely going to hear anything on the boat tour. So sometimes it's just small incremental changes that we can help guide operators through that will improve the visitor experience for everyone. And we also support operators in emergency preparedness and readiness. We haven't experienced anything. I remember being in Chetwynd. I worked for the regional district after the second 100-year flood that washed out the highway in 5 years. How do we support visitors? Sometimes they get stranded where they're supposed to be. How do we provide messaging to them so that we don't scare them off to never come back, but perhaps right now is not the time to come? Creating messaging that's human and not detrimental in the long term. So we have all sorts of resources for that. Our destination development team, there are 3 of them, April, Amy, and Martina. They work on a variety of things, lots of planning in this sector. It's currently being uploaded. It's not there yet. Our Northern BC Regional Destination Development Strategy, it's on the Destination BC website. It's just not on our website. Anyone who's interested in reading 90 pages of how we're developing the Northern BC region, will happily provide you with the link. And new to a new initiative for Destination BC in the last couple of years is called the Iconics. And so the intention behind this is that we create these, it's a marketing initiative, but it is so much more than that. So this region is covered by the Great Wilderness. That's how they're marketing the region. And they've got this lovely narrative around this young millennial, and are millennials young anymore? In Germany, who just, he's feeling closed in by the city and all of the people, and he wants some wide open spaces, and he wants to see something. So he gets on a plane and he flies to northern British Columbia, and where he can see animals bigger than he ever thought existed, and see trees that are hundreds of years old, and the great wilderness where he can spend time and not see any other people, because that's foreign to him. So the Great Wilderness is a marketing initiative, but we also have to do the work on the backside to support communities and operators in developing experiences that match that, so that when this millennial comes from Germany, that he doesn't arrive in some place that's filled with people and where are the animals. I think we've probably all seen the email or the meme about the crazy things that people ask in visitor centers, right? When do you turn the northern lights on? When are you letting the polar bears out? The things that we know are not true in northern British Columbia. We also do a lot of work around transportation infrastructure. We've done quite a bit in recent years around signage. I'm not sure how far south April and Martina are like deep into. Martina never thought she was going to know so much about pouring pilings and sign manufacturing in her tourism coordinator job, but this signage creates a consistent feel. They're at visitor centers, at rest areas, and the intention is to tell the story of the place and encourage visitors to stay a little longer. Give them something to look at, give them something to learn, teach them. The visitor economy is, not only do I learn about the culture and the place that I'm going to visit, but I bring my place and my culture with me. And so there's this cultural exchange that happens. That team works with communities on guidance around regional and local tourism priorities. And they spend a lot of time working with Indigenous communities as they're developing their tourism potential and their cultural assets. And they also have and this is evolving, but a destination development advisory committee that guides the implementation and access to things. April will talk to you until she's blue in the face about these things. Here's a couple of pictures of these signs. It's a whole sign family. If you look up on the very top here, there's they're metal, they're designed to be durable for a very long time. Each segment, each thematic corridor around the sign region has a different animal, so you've entered into a different area. But we also work on other projects, like the container market in Prince Rupert, which is at the bottom corner here. This pump track is in Tumbler Ridge. We have some accessibility initiatives. Sorry, this is so hard to see. This is one of the things that Lori taught me. When you're not in a wheelchair, you don't necessarily think about things the same way, right? You can't just roll up to a picnic table. It may not be set the right way so that you can actually get your knees under it. You're sitting sideways, which anyways, We've been lucky in the last 5 years to have access to some pots of money that we've been able to implement across the region that have supported signage and these kinds of projects. This is a picture of a trolley. This is a picture of a trolley in Prince Rupert. So with the cruise port in Prince Rupert, they're developing tour products for those cruise passengers when they come off the cruise ships to enjoy the community. One of the things we got on feedback on supporting this lift on the trolley was that it was the only accessible excursion available on the entire cruise, which is pretty cool for Prince Rupert. A little more on signage. 43 signs at 23 different locations. We are now, phase 3 is along Highway 16. Phase 1 was here in the Northeast. It started with, and I don't know how familiar Chetwynd is with the Gotta Go project. This is a project that will just not go away in my career. I actually named the Gotta Go project when I ran the Economic Development Commission. And it was about rest areas and rest facilities, because when you gotta go, you gotta go. And we had a pretty weak network of rest areas in the North Piece. So Northern BC Tourism partnered with the Gotta Go committee, and now there's signage at some of those rest areas. So because it's not just about a place when you gotta go, but it's also about a place to pull over and have a nap or get out and stretch your legs, or if we want to talk about the safe movement of people and goods, we have to make sure that we are providing those spaces for people to pull over when they need to. Anyhow, those have been a good place to put signs. So now we're at industry development. This is my favorite part. I just said to Clint, our CEO, here a few months ago, I said, I'm clearly not here for the money, Clint. I'm here because I love the work that I do. I love connecting with the operators, understanding their challenges, and the Tourism Resiliency Program has been a great program to be able to do that. So I connect with operators, communities, organizations, learn as much as I can about them, start to build their relationship, and as long as we have funding for the Tourism Resiliency Program, I can get them connected to expert support. So we've been running this program since the beginning of the pandemic, April 2020, when the lights went out in the visitor economy and everyone was told to stay home, even in their own communities. So since April of 2020, we have registered through this program 374 businesses. We've connected with them. We've built them support plans. We've got them connected to resources, whether they're our resources or someone else's resources. We talk to them or email them. There is on average 29 connection points. And the program elements, sometimes it's just a conversation. Sometimes it's just someone to bounce ideas off of. Sometimes it's I don't know how to update my hours on my Google business profile because my life's changed, or it's Christmas, so we've increased our hours, or my cousin built my website for me 5 years ago. I don't know how to update it. I don't even know how to get into it. So digital support, we've got someone who can help support those pieces. Marketing support. Everyone remember the days of the travel guide, the accommodation guide? My dad always had an accommodation guide. It's gone now because we find everything online. So how do we make sure that businesses have got the appropriate profile so that they're capturing the visitors in their communities? And how do they market themselves? So I can get them connected with a marketing expert who can help them develop that digital marketing strategy. And I will tell you that it's not always digital. I still have some operators that I work with. They're like, listen, posters are what work for us. We just need some help with the messaging. Okay. The marketing expert can help with that. I do lots of work around business planning. We want to diversify what we're offering. We need to develop out our winter offering. We're at capacity in summer. Now we need to figure out how to develop our winter offering. We're buying a new property to dovetail into what's happening here. I think about Powder King. When Jim was still alive and when he bought Azuette, the whole idea was to turn this into a 4-season destination. He used to say to me, "Man, Jennifer, when we get internet, it's going to be a game changer. Internet means a hotel, which means..." So, however we can support whatever those, he had growth and aspiration plans. Some of our operators are like, Naomi, you were just talking about this, local woman who provided catering services, and now the legislation has changed and the permitting and her business has been cut by 70%. Okay, you should connect her with me. I can probably help. I hope.
I'm gonna set her up with you.
Okay. We also do experience development support. So I want to offer a new visitor experience, whatever that may be. We've just run a pilot program here in the Northeast over the last 2 years called Beyond the Horizons, working with operators on developing a new product or taking a product and they're like, it's not clicking, it's not registering, we're not getting the uptake on it that we wanted, right? So understanding what visitors are looking for, building it for them, and building their experience from the very first time they engage with you, which might not actually be with you, it might be with your website or your social media, all the way through their booking process, their actual visit, the experience itself, and then your follow-up afterwards. We've all heard that word of mouth is the best marketing. I will tell you one of the guerrilla marketing tactics that have come out of this program that I've heard about is take a Polaroid camera with you. You have a great product, your jet boat tour on the Skeena River. Take a Polaroid camera, and a week after they go home, send them the photo that you took of them out that's branded with your company logo on it. They're going to stick it on their fridge. Anybody have a house party that always ends up in the kitchen? You have people over, they always end up in the kitchen, looking at the fridge. It's a great opportunity for you to tell a story. Anyways, that particular operator's like such a low cost. It cost me an envelope, a stamp, and a Polaroid camera, and my business has gone up 30% that I can directly attribute to that particular initiative. Marketing initiatives don't have to be expensive. And one of the other pieces, this was actually super, super easy. We all have these things. They're great. They take lovely pictures, but they're not necessarily the pictures we want to put in. They're not the quality that we want to put in our marketing materials or, our lens, if we're not a photographer, on how to frame the shot is not necessarily the right way. So we offer some photography services to operators to get those images to support their social media, their website, advertising. And they get 20 high quality images on the other side that are high enough quality they can blow them up on a billboard. And the funding that supports this, and there's a flyer on the table, is super flexible. So, if none of those things is the issue that an operator is having or a community is having, just call. I don't like saying no. There's some things I have to say no to, but I'm pretty masterful at repositioning things so we can get to yes. I should tell you, through this program, since 2020, we have given out almost $500,000 in direct one-to-one expert support to tourism operators across northern British Columbia. With the, how do I update my website, marketing strategies, digital support, photos. That's not a small chunk of change. Destination BC, who we have a very strong partnership and relationship with, has a learning center. So they've got all sorts of resources on there. Some of them are workshops, some of them are videos that you can watch. Everybody has a different learning style, and the ability to access some of this stuff, because I don't know what I need to know about social media marketing, or how do I grow my following on my social media. And I will also tell you that while some of these resources are pretty tourism specific, like experience development or travel, trade, and travel media, I would argue that some of them would apply to any business. Social media marketing, digital marketing, that examples can be pulled from those to any sector. I told you earlier that sustainability is one of our core values, and it's ingrained in all of the work that we do. And so, in partnership with our other regional destination marketing organizations, the funding to support this has ended, but the website is still up with all of the resources. We created the BC Tourism Sustainability Network, which has created a fleet of resources that businesses and organizations can access around energy, water, waste. I want to say there's close to 20 different resource guides there. That program also supported operators in getting their own sustainability plan based on what their aspirations and where their challenges were. There's a link to it on our website. And emergency management. So obviously the goal would be to not have an emergency. That would be ideal. Was not practical, right? I mean, we've experienced a number. Our region is prone to wildfires. Please stop calling it wildfire season. It scares the visitors away. Yes, let's call it summer, right? But how can are there things that we can do to help mitigate and to prepare? Are there plans that we can put in place? And I would argue that this applies to any business. Every business has its own little nuances, but how do we make sure how we're messaging from a tourism perspective? The messaging is probably one of the most important pieces, so that if a visitor is planning to come and we have a fire situation, obviously we don't want them to get to the road closure to find out they can't come. But how do we communicate with them in a way that's going to send the message, not right now, but please come back when it's safe for everyone. And then the last piece is the recovery piece. If you've been displaced from your operation, from your property, depending on the proximity, or you don't necessarily know what you're coming back to. In my career, I will say I've been lucky to go into the Calgary area after the floods and work with operators on, who are still shoveling sediment out of their business because the floods effectively shut them down. I was in Slave Lake after the fires. Devastating impact to business. How do we get you back on your feet? What kind of supports do you need to get back on your feet? And what do you know now that you wish you knew before? Let's write it down right now while it's fresh, so that you're prepared for the next piece. We have a team member, and I think her contract is coming to an end, but we've got lots of resources there on our website. There's the pre-event. How do we plan for it? How do we anticipate? What are we going to need? Creating communications resources and strengthening our relationships so we make sure we're getting the right information to the right people. Obviously, we want to promote trusted communication sources. When the fires of 2016 were happening, and literally I was at my brother's house in Taylor watching the fire on the South Taylor Hill race across the landscape, and my sister-in-law was videotaping it. And then I can see she's on Facebook. I'm like, if you post that thing on Facebook, you are not a trusted source. You are inciting panic here. Well, people need to know. because you're all knowing. What do you know about the fire? We lean to social media, but it actually, have you heard the term doom scrolling? We're more likely to stop on something that's negative, far more likely to stop on something negative than positive. So anyhow, I've successfully taught my sister-in-law, who doesn't listen to much, to not post these negative things on social media. I said, if you would like to post something from the regional district. They are the trusted source. So how do we share that information in the right way and from the right places? And then I talked a little bit about post-event and recovery afterwards. What do you need to get back on your feet? If you had guests that you needed to cancel their visit, communicating with them afterwards. Okay, we're back home now. We're settled. Everything's okay. So sorry we had to cancel. How can we reschedule? Like, what does your calendar look like? Can we reschedule for later this summer or maybe next summer? And to work with others and share some of those findings. We are a small but mighty team. Like I said, we are spanned across the entire region from Prince George all the way out to Kitimat, and teams that work across all of those verticals. So some of these faces may be familiar to you. Clint, our CEO, is based out of Prince George. April Moy, who is from the region, for many years ran the Northern Rockies Tourism Association, now lives in the Lower Mainland. She assures us she is retiring. I think she also does it because she loves the work. Nikki is in Prince George. She makes sure the bills get paid and the staff get paid. Brian Peach, who's a little bit camera shy, he's our director of marketing. He's out of Smithers. I'm out of Fort St. John. Martina, who works as part of the destination development team, is also out of Fort St. John. Amy, who is the newest member of our team, is in Kitimat. Works as part of that destination development team. Dustin is in Prince George, travel, trade, and travel media. Anne Marie, who is like the organizer extreme, manages lots of our co-op marketing. She's in Houston, and Fran, who you may have seen before, is out of Dawson Creek. That's the Northern BC tourism story. So I want to know from you guys your connection to the visitor economy.
Oh my gosh, every single one of these guys have a connection to the visitor.
Right, so.
Well, I came because I've been going up the highway. Last year I went 6 times as far north as Coal River, and this year I'll go again 6 times, and supporting the operators along the way with my product, their product, and a co-branded product. And so I was interested to see if there was anything here that I would be able to bring to them if they're complaining about, for example, social media or anything like that.
Tell them to call me, Julie.
Right.
I'll send you with some business cards.
Well, if you have some resources that I can leave with,
yeah.
I can totally do that. But as you were talking about accessibility too, sorry, that wasn't your question though, carry on. You're still talking about connection, that's okay. Yeah, I have ideas.
Well, and that's well, you're not servicing the visitor directly. You're working with operators who are, and you are a visitor on these trips. Yes. Eating food in restaurants, yes. Staying.
$100.
Yeah.
In gas, lodging, and meals.
You're doing it much more affordably than I do it. Well done.
Sometimes you're forced to sleep in your truck. You didn't make a plan. Those
yes. Yes. So who else has got a connection? What's their connection to the visitor economy?
You have a representative here from our local museum. Hello. Grab, toss.
I'm part of the local museum. We're just trying to promote the history of the area and preserve it. The museum closed, of course, during COVID, and we want to reinvent it, bring it back to life and continue with it. Just looking for ideas that can help.
We should talk.
Okay.
Anyone else?
Yeah, so we are the library and we welcome residents and visitors every day. And so we're here to find new resources or refresh that we can and share with the people who come and visit us.
Yeah.
We had family visit last year during the summer who were head over heels for the library and just how amazing and welcoming they were to them and their visit to Chetwynd. There was one from Edmonton and one from down on the coast, and they were like, we're bringing back everything about the Chetwynd Library back to our own libraries because this is amazing. So like fantastic.
It's one of those assets in a community that we don't necessarily think about from a visitor perspective. We think only locals use the library. My dad worked construction, and so I got to spend a few weeks each summer in some of small communities in northern British Columbia, Chetwynd being one of them. I actually knocked my brother's front teeth out here when he was 6. We hadn't been in town 2 hours. Anyways, we would come and spend time. My dad would still go to work, and we would come and spend time wherever he was. And the library was one of those places that, as visitors to a community, one of those assets that we were using, right? Because my mom needed to figure out, we weren't at home in our usual environment, so we need to figure out what we're going to do. Anyways, it's an important visitor asset that is often not thought of as a visitor asset. So, yeah. I always stop at the library when I come through town. All right, well, I have business cards. Julie, you had another question.
Well, just wondering if the scope of your programming would cover something like this. At Liard Hot Springs, it's inaccessible for a lot of people because it's 800 meters in there, and there's no way into it unless you can do stairs once you get there. So, but they do drive, the park rangers drive a golf cart, which is kind of crazy because it takes up the whole boardwalk. There's about a foot on the other side, but there are motorized vehicles out there that use the boardwalk. If there was a way to put an accessible transportation through there, is that something that this would cover, or is that kind of another pocket?
It's another pocket, and Northern BC Tourism doesn't have the funds to support it, but through the Tourism Resiliency Program. Now, the Liard Hot Springs it's a BC park, and so we've got strong relationships with BC Parks, and so having those conversations about accessibility and some of those investments that can be made will support organizations in finding funding. I can't write grant applications for organizations, but I can provide all sorts of guidance. And as someone who writes a lot of grant applications, I'm happy to review and provide insights on, consider reframing this budget line's way too big, you got to break it down, looking at things through the eyes of an adjudicator. I worked with a nonprofit out in Prince Rupert last year who was going after a $50,000 grant application. And the feedback that I got from her on the backside was, we likely would not have got any money if it hadn't been for the feedback that you gave to us. She still had to write it, but I could provide some guidance and some, right? This line item, it's $141,000. You got to break that down. So, because they're gonna think that's just a little bit of a catch-all slush fund. So, and the other part is, tell me, if someone can connect with me, tell me what the project is. Tell me what the challenge is. I will, if I don't know of a program, I will go and do the research to see if I can find some funding to support it. One of the things that happened during the pandemic was there were more support programs for the business community than there have ever been before. There was a wage subsidy program, there was the BC Small Medium-Sized Business Recovery Grant, there was all of these funding pockets. So what's happened is on the other side here. Now we've come out of the pandemic, and the bills come due on these things, and that we as taxpayers have to, we're tackling that debt. It was important that there were supports to support business during that sudden and severe change that happened. Well, I worked at MNP at the time, and literally I remember being in the front in the morning, and it was fine, and I was in the front and at the front desk at 11 a.m. and they had some sort of stanchion set up, and by 3 p.m. they're like, all right, pack up your laptops and your monitors, and everyone's working from home. Like, it happened that fast. So those supports were necessary, but there's still a narrative out in the community that level of support continues to exist, and that is not actually the case. But sometimes you have to dig, right? Like I used to joke that, grants, all the criterias on grant programs were super finite, that you had to, only stand on your right foot on Tuesdays between 3 and 4. And I'm being a bit facetious when I say that. But the more I understand about an operator, the better equipped I am to be able to support them. And I say to stakeholders when I connect with them, you're going to see something from me one way or the other in the next couple of weeks. But in 6 months, you might get a random email out of nowhere from me because a new pocket of funding has opened up someplace that fits what it is that you're talking about today. Sometimes the funding windows are sudden and brief, and you got to be ready. So, anyways, back to the accessibility.
That'd be a parks thing.
It's a BC Parks thing. Yeah. But I agree. Yeah.
Anybody else? Well, awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming out and taking a busy part of your schedule, because you wear so many hats, to come out to Cheltenham and chill with us. And thankfully, the weather has been beautiful and the roads have been wonderful.
Dry pavement the whole way here, except a couple little spots.
Right? So before we draw our door prize,
Here.
block that. I blocked it again. That didn't work. Our luncheon series is, as you know, is free for our chamber members, and we have to thank our sponsors for that. So we have sponsors for our Mind Your Business luncheon series. They're MLA Newfeld. We have the Dawson Creek Co-op, West Moberly First Nations, and the Pomeroy Hotel. They make it us able to host these luncheons for our members. We're going to be doing another a shout out for another round of funding coming up here in the next, probably by summertime. So if anybody wants to help sponsor this program, that would be absolutely wonderful. Yes to the 90-page document. There's a little part of me that was super excited about that. Oh, that was so good to read. That's where
There is some pretty cool stuff in there.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Right,
I wasn't
so,
trying to scare anyone off with the 90-page document.
And if you can send your presentation to me, if anybody would like it, just let me know. I'll send it out to you, not a problem. So we do have some more luncheons that are booked up for next month, February. We have tentatively booked the LNG project. We have a representative that's going to be in town that's going to, we're just firming up some dates on that. So it'll be LNG in February, Northern Innovation Network in March, Northern Lights College in April, and West Fraser in May. We may have interjects as well. That might pop in there somewhere and kind of maybe switch some things around. We will be rescheduling the dinner with the mayor that got canceled in December. The weather was just absolutely horrendous, and I wasn't willing to put everybody at risk for that because we had a lot of people coming from out of town. Where'd my notes go? Trade show, March 27th to 29th this year. It's a little bit earlier. We're a week ahead just due to the Easter holiday. So if you're looking at booking a booth with us for the trade show, I would do so. They're starting to come in and they're starting to fill up quite quickly. Last year was our biggest show ever. We had about 2,500 people plus through the doors all weekend. Hopefully we don't have a snowstorm in March because they have some food trucks coming and they're like, we'll only be there if it's not snowing, which I get.
And then also we have our business directory that we do yearly. The deadline's been extended to January 31st. If you haven't got your ad in, your ad booking form in, let me know, and we can have that made up and have it proofed to you, so we can have that sent out. It's usually released for trade show weekend, so it goes in all the vendors. It goes to the visitor center, to the library. It goes to all the hotels. It gets sent out. It's available also on our website for people to access. So yeah, so those are all the things that are coming up. And now we have our little door prize. Everybody has a little orange ticket.
Last three numbers, 220.
That's you.
No,
221.
Oh, I'm 222.
Hey, 220. So we have some stuff in here from Vitriol Minerals and for Northwind Supplies. By the way, Northwind Supplies is closing at the end of January. They're having some amazing sales. That's a devastating loss to our community. An amazing business. I'm very sorry to see them go, but they have some amazing sales going on. So there's some stuff in there from Northwind Supplies. And then we have our Shop Local bags. I bought it in Chetwynd. The great thing about these is you can use them anywhere. It still looks like you bought it in Chetwynd, so it's great advertising. It's all about marketing. Thank you so much for coming out. And keep your eye on our social media and our website and on your emails for when we have the date for the next luncheon, which will be moving to Wednesdays. Our luncheons will be moving to Wednesdays instead of Thursdays because the BC Chamber has moved their network calls to Thursdays, and they wouldn't change it just for me. How rude. Rude. So they'll be changing to Wednesdays, and then I'll make sure to send out the reschedule for the dinner with the mayor as well. So again, thanks so much, Jennifer, for coming out. And
Thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah, and we'll see you at one of the numerous things we sit on.
Thank you so much, and sorry for us being late.
Yeah,
Stuck
it's all
behind the
good.
train.
Oh.
Chetwynd, BC is a perfect destination for nature enthusiasts. Offering a stunning array of outdoor attractions such as beautiful lakes, rivers, waterfalls, dinosaur tracks, beaches, and playgrounds. With a variety of hiking trails suited for all skill levels, easy, moderate, or hard, it provides ample opportunities for exploration and adventure in the great outdoors. Whether you're interested in scenic hikes, discovering ancient dinosaur footprints, or relaxing by the water, Chetwynd has something for every nature lover. To make your summers unforgettable, you can enjoy a variety of outdoor activities such as fishing, boating, swimming, and camping at the many scenic spots around the area. Additionally, the region offers several mountain biking trails for thrill seekers and adventure lovers, providing exciting opportunities to explore the rugged terrain and enjoy the beautiful natural surroundings. If you prefer to stay within Chetwynd, there are plenty of community parks to enjoy, including Spirit Park, a popular gathering spot for local events. Chetwynd Skateboard Park, perfect for skateboarding and biking enthusiasts. Chetwynd's Water Play Park, which offers a fun way to cool off during hot summer days. And the Chetwynd Dog Park, a safe and friendly space for your dogs to run, play, and make new friends. Little Prairie Community Forest is Crown land, located north of Chetwynd and south of Moberly Lake.
This forest is held by 3 communities: West Moberly First Nation, Soto First Nations, and the District of Chetwynd. And the main objectives in this forest are sustainable forest management, wildfire resiliency, and enhanced community involvement and education. The management of the forest is governed by a board of directors that includes shareholders from West Moberly First Nations, Soto First Nations, and the District of Chetwynd.
Little Prairie Community Forest, managing sustainable timber harvesting and wildfire risk reduction treatments while maintaining the forest's cultural and recreational values.